Investing can be a very powerful tool to grow your money and become wealthy. However, your progress can quickly become obsolete if you make the crucial mistakes I'm talking about today. I've spent a lot of time studying this, making some of these mistakes myself, and learning what actually separates people who build real wealth from those who stay stuck. And most of it has nothing to do with being smart or finding the next big stock. So I'm going to break down the biggest investing mistakes that are costing you money right now. The first investing mistake that applies to so many people in the world, but if you're watching this, it probably won't apply to you, is not investing at all. Investing is such a power tool. If you don't invest, you're just going to let your money sit into a checking account or maybe even a high yield savings account. However, neither of those things are going to grow your money to the rate that an investment account would, and investing in index funds and mutual funds. So essentially what's happening is you're just leaving money on the table. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place to keep your money in a checking account, and I'm not saying there's not a time and place to keep your money in a high yield savings account or to use a CD or whatever that may look like. However, for your long-term investments, for your long-term money growth, to beat inflation and to have even extra money after that, putting your money in an index fund and mutual funds through an investment account is going to be the best way to go ahead and do that. There are, of course, a bunch of other options that we're probably going to talk about throughout the rest of this video, but one of the most crucial mistakes you can make is not investing at all. You need to at least have an account and put a little bit of money into it. Our next mistake is trying to time the market. This sounds really foo-foo-y if you're not an investment guy or you're not really into finance at all. What does this really mean? Well, to make it simple, when you're investing in the long term. So there's going to be so many ups and downs. The market could go down 20% this week and then go up 30% next week. But then overall, over time, it tends to go up 10% a year, if not even a little bit more as of recently. But that doesn't take into account that sometimes it might go down 20% a year. Now, what people try to do, especially when they're new to investing, is they want to make sure they maximize the amount that they put in. So they wait for the market to dip and then they put their money in. And although that's a strategy, especially for big market dips like the one we had around the quarantine time and the one we recently just had when the United States went to war with Iran, there was a chance to maybe put extra money in and that's going to grow at a better rate because there's been a dip. However, for most of the time, in most cases, it's not smart to wait for a dip or try to time the market to be able to get extra value because it's really hard to do. Who knows? Maybe you see, oh, it's been a small dip, and then you put your money in because you're expecting it to go back up, and then it continues to go down for a few months, and then it shoots back up, and again, it recovers over time. But again, it's really hard to time the market. And then if you're thinking maybe, hey, oh, the stock's going up, it's going up, I'm going to put money in now, so it continues to go up, and then the second you put money in, it could go down. Again, I'm not saying those things are guaranteed to happen, and shoot, maybe you'll time the market perfectly one of these days. That being said, it's pretty much impossible to do. The smartest of the smartest people don't know when a market's going to go up, when it's going to go down. They might have a general idea, but specific numbers they never really do. So long story short, trying to time the market, trying to put your money in at a specific point so you get some extra value, or avoid a little bit of extra risk, and really anything to time the market, it's really not worth it. So what are we supposed to do instead? Well, we want to be in timing with the market. Basically, instead of waiting around for 5 to 10 years to find your optimal opportunity that you don't even know if it's going to be optimal or not, you just put the money in now and let it grow. Because over those 5 years that you're waiting, being stagnant, trying to hit this massive jackpot of an S&P drop, well, you could have just been growing that money instead. And oftentimes, the growth over 1 to 2 years is going to beat any amount of trying to find the perfect spot to put your money in. Pretty simple. Mistake number 3 is investing without a plan. This sounds, again, very arbitrary, very foo-foo-y, but there's really truth to this. If you're just like, I'm going to invest a bunch of money, let's go, then, it's better than not investing money, I guess, but what are you investing money for? Are you investing for retirement? Well, then you want to make sure you're opening the right account, because throwing money in a normal brokerage account is fine. However, if you put that money into a Roth IRA, well, then, you're going to be able to pull it out tax-free, which is such a big advantage. And that's just one example. Maybe you want to invest, but you're looking to have that money in maybe 10 to 15 years. Well, if you're 20 and you put that money into a Roth, you can't pull it out until you're 59 and a half. So, then you're kind of cooking yourself, essentially, right? You need to have a plan. What is your plan? Is it to retire? Is it to retire early? Is it to retire early and then travel the world? Is it to retire at 30? I don't know what that looks like, right? Like, what are your goals? What is your plan? Because a lot of those numbers change. A lot of the accounts you invest in change. Usually you still invest in the same index and mutual funds like VOO and VTI and whatever that looks like, right? Like, those things don't change, but the accounts you use, the amount you invest, when you withdraw, a lot of that stuff changes, and you got to make sure you know why you're investing in the first place. And then it also helps you with being consistent, because if you're building towards a certain goal, if you're building towards retirement and you're like, oh, I really just do not want to invest this month, and trust me, you'll get there because I've been there and I'm young and I've been there. And it's like, well, you got to realize, hey, my youth is great, because the longer this money sits in the market, like we talked about earlier, the more it's going to be in the long run. So it helps you be more consistent when you have a very specific plan for your money. So again, make a plan and then invest with that plan. This doesn't have to be super complicated, but just certain goals that you want, certain actions you're going to live this out by to be able to fulfill that goal, and just go with it. Mistake number 4 is chasing hype stocks. This looks like a lot of different things. One of the more recent ones in recent times has been Nvidia, and that might still be a good investment, to be honest. But again, when we're talking about the normal person, and I'm talking to myself here, I've gone to college for a finance degree, right? Like, I love money. I'm making YouTube videos about money and personal finance. Like, if anybody should be trying to chase hype stocks, it's me. Let me tell you this, I'm still investing in VOO. I'm still investing in VXUS. I'm still investing in VTI. Like, all these normal index funds, mutual funds, I'm still investing in. I'm not investing in Nvidia. I'm not investing in Google or OpenAI or Microsoft, whatever the good AI stocks are currently. I'm just going with the basic S&P 500 index funds, because the math has shown over time, it's the consistency, it's the amount you're going to get, and it's the little risk that you'll be taking. If you put a bunch of money into a single stock company, what happens when they have a massive lawsuit, like the craziest thing we've ever seen? You lose all of that money. However, if it's like in a set of 500 other companies, or I guess 499 other companies, you're not going to lose all your money in one go. Again, I'm not saying this to scare you, but at the end of the day, stock prices can fluctuate and they can drop by 50%. That can happen. And I don't want all my portfolio tied up into hype stocks, or even 10% of it, because it's really just not worth it in the long run. You're going to get a better output in most mutual funds and index funds, which I'm invested into anyways. I can't even believe I have to talk about this, but probably for 99% of people out there, at least of right now, you do not need to be looking at crypto. And this kind of goes along with hype stocks, right? Look, I think crypto could actually be a little bit of the way of the future. I'm sure it will be. Like, there's a reason why it's hung around for still so long, especially like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that. However, when we're talking about NFTs and we're talking about these like penny stocks almost, like, don't touch those, especially if you're a young investor. You want to go with something that's going to be consistent, that's going to grow over time. And if you go with crypto, like, you could hit big, don't get me wrong, but you could also lose it all. And you definitely do not want to do that. So again, stick with the classic index funds and mutual funds. Let your money grow and let it grow over time. And it's the best way to go. Don't chase hype stocks, or don't chase crypto either. Another mistake that seems maybe, again, foo-foo-y, arbitrary, but it's a major mental game, is checking your portfolio consistently. This sounds really weird, because don't you want to keep track of your money? Like, especially if you got like over $100,000 in this account, like, you don't want to like make sure you're losing it all. Well, I guess if you're like me and you have faith in the S&P 500 and you just know it's going to consistently grow up over time, and like, I'm not changing this plan of action unless I hear completely otherwise, then like, I'm not going to sell and I'm not going to buy, or I'm only going to buy when I have extra money to put in. So like, why check it? Constantly checking your portfolio only leads to one thing, and it's a bunch of anxiety. You're going to see your account go up $2,000 one day, and then the next day it's going to drop $5,000, and then the next day it's going to drop $6,000. And so one day you're like, holy cow, I'm on top of the world, I'm rich, it's going to grow, and then it crashes, and then you're like, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, like, I just lost a bunch of money. And like, that's part of the game. That's what investing is. That's what the economy is. That's what investing in companies means. It means your money's going to go up sometimes, and it means your money's going to go down sometimes. And that's all right. However, if you have just the account opened up on your phone and you're just checking it frequently, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and it's just going to add so much stress to your life. This is a very different example, but just so you know the mental impact. I've made YouTube videos for a while. This is not my first channel by any means. However, I learned probably probably a few years ago that consistently checking my YouTube videos to seeing how well they perform, how many subscribers I gained, how much money I made, checking all of those things constantly hurt me. It hurt me with anxiety. It hurt me like progressing with future videos because all of a sudden I'd think I'm on top of the world or I'd feel like a failure. And oftentimes what would happen is if I was super successful, I would just be like, okay, I'm happy with that. But I wouldn't be like, yes, I'm on top of the world. However, if I have a bad video, it's not like I go, oh, it's okay, it's just a bad video, I'll figure it out. No, I go, I'm a stupid idiot. How could I ever post this video and think it's good? And so it's kind of the same thing with investing. When it's a high, you're just going to treat it like normal. But when it's a low, you're going to treat it like it's the end of the world. And I've kind of found myself doing that. And so oftentimes I delete these apps off my phone. I keep one of my brokerage accounts downloaded on my phone because I just don't find myself checking it that much. It's my Roth IRA one. And then I have another brokerage account that I guess I check in on every once in a while. But for a lot of people, this could be a massive struggle. For me, when it comes to my investments, it's really not because I really grasp the concept of the stock market. However, that being said, in other aspects of my life, I totally delete apps off my phone, like on Instagram, YouTube, and then like the YouTube Studio for creators, right? Those apps are off my phone, which sounds absolutely ludicrous for somebody who's been making YouTube videos for 5 to 6 years. However, I just know I can't trust my emotions with having that on my phone. And it's the same thing with investing. The next mistake people make is selling when the market drops. Especially when we're talking about index and mutual funds, this is probably the worst thing you can do. Because when a stock or an ETF or a mutual fund drops, usually it's going to go back up, especially when we're talking about most index mutual funds and ETFs. And so what you're doing essentially is you're taking all of the loss and not taking any of the gain when it rebalances and rebounces back up. Look, I'm not promising you every single stock will always resurge, especially when it's not like an index or mutual fund. And so like, I'm not going to put that in your head, but like if a stock drops, it's probably the worst thing you can do is to sell it. Now, sometimes you need the money and you can't afford to lose anymore, and that's fair too. But when it comes to mutual funds, index funds, and retirement investing, and you're doing all that in safe, specific ETFs and stuff, like, dude, you're going to be fine. It's going to go back up. So don't panic sell, because then when it springs back up 20%, you just lost 20% of your portfolio for no reason. Stay consistent. Once again, time in the market will always beat timing the market. The next mistake most people make is not diversifying. Now imagine this. Imagine a world in which you throw $1 million into McDonald's stock. And it grows and it grows and it grows because McDonald's has consistently been one of the greatest fast food places of all time. And your money grows and it grows and it grows. And maybe that 1 million turns into 10 million by the time you're ready to retire. However, let's say you invest $1 million into McDonald's and it grows 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 to $8 million. And then around the time you're 50, maybe 60, all of a sudden, McDonald's starts getting these weird claims. You keep your money in because it's McDonald's. It's not going to crumble. But then all of a sudden, a year later, they have the world's massivest lawsuit in the world, and they lose absolutely everything, and your stock plummets to $500,000, and then you sell it out. Is that going to happen? No. I don't even think a lawsuit could be so massive it completely collapses McDonald's. It probably would never happen. But, like, maybe that goes for a different stock you're invested in, or maybe it goes at a maybe smaller scale than just that tankage. Basically, you want to diversify because you like lower your risk, and then you still keep the optimal growth rate of the stock market over time, beating inflation, and then also adding more money into your account as well. And so investing in a lot of like good, solid companies is a great thing to do. And again, something like I've been talking about this whole video, mutual funds, index funds, ETFs, like whatever that may look like for you. I go through VOO or VTI or VXUS. And even in those, there's a little bit of diversification because I'm getting companies outside of the US, I'm getting companies inside the US, I'm getting smaller companies combined with my 500 companies, and I'm getting larger companies, right? Like I even diversify in my index funds and mutual funds. I'm not saying you have to do that, but it's just something I do, especially because I've like gotten a massive amount of money into my portfolio, not to like flex, but like when it was like $500 a month, that was fine. But now I've got a lot in my investment account, so I want to diversify even more just to lower the risk even more. But again, long story short, if you are investing, you do not want all your money in one company. You either want to go through index funds, mutual funds, and maybe that means multiple of them as well, but you just want to make sure you're diversifying your money because drops can happen, market dips can happen. However, like companies going completely under, that can happen, and you don't want to have all your equity tied up into something like that and just completely ruin your financial future. Is that probably going to happen? No, but it could. And so you don't want to make all these smart smart decisions and sacrificing all your money to a day to like invest in tomorrow just to lose it all in the future. Like that's the whole reason we're investing, is to have more money and keep more money. We don't want to like gamble it all away, right? And again, it's not much of a gamble, but it's enough where it could scare you a little bit. So make sure you're just diversifying your portfolio a little bit. And another mistake here is not investing consistently. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with a plan, but oftentimes what can happen is we're really on fire for investing. We just learned about investing maybe, or we've learned the importance, or we just opened the account. We're like, yes, I want to put my $500 in and watch it grow to 1,000. And then you put your 500 in and it crashes down to 350, and then it rebalances back up to 550 over the course of maybe a year or two. And you're like, oh, that wasn't as like exciting as I thought it was. It was actually kind of scary, but then it came back, right? And this kind of goes back to not checking your portfolio too constantly, because it can really put fear into your brain. But often what happens is we kind of like, we're not getting this massive effect, and we kind of lose that spirit, and we lose that excitement, and we lose that motivation. What is going to make investing great for you is being consistent. It's going to be making goals, it's going to be following through with those goals, and it's going to be not bending from them at any cost. Again, there's circumstances like if you need to go into debt for something, you should pause all investing and get out of that debt. There's a massive medical bill that you weren't expecting with your wife's pregnancy or something. You're going to want to rebalance that too and figure that out before you start investing like crazy again. But overall, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is throw $500 into an account, hope it's going to grow to your full retirement savings you need, and then realize it's not. You want to make sure you're being consistent. You want to make sure you're being consistent with the stocks you choose, the plan you're following, and the amount you put in, and to what account you're putting it into. Again, there's a lot to learn about investing, and if you want to learn how to invest better, check out this video on your screen right now. I think you're going to love it, and it'll help you out a lot. Peace out.